So I've been thinking a lot lately about the light class, its problems, its weaknesses, and how to fix the light class specifically, and I think I figured it out. So today let's do a deep dive into understanding what the problems of the light class are, and then we'll get into the solutions that I came up with. First and foremost, I see that the light class is kind of sacrificing as a whole survivability for fun. And if you've seen my 21 problems that the finals need to fix video, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about here. Which, by the way, same with that video, this is supposed to be like an open discussion, and if you have ideas, opinions, comments, or if you just completely disagree with what I'm saying, go ahead, put that down in the comments below, because who knows, maybe we'll make a follow-up video using those comments specifically. Anyway, the light class in casual mode, aka if you're playing unranked or if you're playing just like quick cash or power shift or something like that, there doesn't seem to be a problem with it that much because the game mode is just about fun, so the problem just doesn't exist there. The problem arises when you're trying to play ranked. A person who's playing light class in the finals has for the longest time been seen as like, you know, you're griefing if you're playing the light class. And don't get me wrong, a good light class player can have a huge impact on the round. There's that for sure, but the idea is that if you're good on light, you're good on pretty much any other class. If you're good on light, you can go crazy on the medium, or you can go crazy on the heavy. The meta seems to be medium or heavy. That's just what it revolves around right now. And if you're playing the light class, you're kind of just handicapping yourself just to have fun, I guess. Because in my opinion, the light class has the most fun abilities in the game. The evasive dash is, everyone knows already, that's the best ability in the game in my opinion, and I love it the most. Grappling hook is just awesome. Being Spider-Man and like a menace to society in the new Horizon map is a feeling that I just really enjoy. And so to speak on this problem, when I was giving thought into this video, into this idea, I had to understand how Embark wanted the light class to play out. And what I realized, and what they've made kind of clear, is that the light class is meant to be a sort of recon / ratty style of gameplay where you either get information for your team or help set up a take using the glitch nade or something like that, or you just punish someone who's just a little bit further from their team, like a hyena in the Wild Wild West. You go invisible, attack them from behind using the stun gun, and just mow them down. You're not meant to take head-on fights as the light class, which is fine. That's where the balancing comes in, and that's how Embark wants the light class to play out, I'm assuming. But the abilities and the way that the class is kind of designed don't fully match up to that playstyle. Let me explain. The heavy class, for example, if you take a look at the heavy class, they have low movement, or like slow movement. They move like a freaking slug, but they have high HP. So it's the opposite, right? The light class should have high movement and low HP, right? Did I say that right? Yeah, high movement and low HP. And he technically does. The light class, I mean, technically runs faster because he's a smaller dude, but that's not the point I'm getting at. If you remember the point I made earlier, the light class is kind of meant to be that recon / ratty playstyle. Like, do you see what I mean? They're trying to promote a recon style of gameplay, but at the same time, kind of like a movement style of thing. It doesn't really match up, and I think that's where the disconnect happens. That's where the problem lies. If you think of any other like this style of character in any other game, for example, let's take a look at Teamfight. I was gonna say Teamfight Tactics, bro. A TF2, bro. TF2. The Scout from TF2. He's a fast movement player. The skill lies in the movement. He's a smaller hitbox, but he has high damage. You get around the map, you go crazy, you attack him from behind, you get in, get out, and that's kind of like how it's meant to be. He's not really a recon. Recon is more of the spy character from TF2. So the way the finals is trying to mash it up is like a mix between spy and scout, which is kind of confusing. And initially when I was talking about this and writing it up and thinking about it, I was gonna say that it doesn't make sense. You need to pick a lane and go in one direction, but then I figured it does make sense actually, because recon kind of also comes with the whole light class. Like, you're able to get in and get out, so that way you can gather up information for the rest of your team pretty fast. It makes sense, that mishmash of spy and scout from TF2, but it's just not implemented in a way that competes with the rest of the meta. I'll give you a couple other examples before we get into the solutions. If you take a look at Tracer, which is probably the hottest character in Overwatch 2. Oh, I can't believe I said that. I'm gonna leave it in there, bro. Tracer, for example, is a high movement character in Overwatch 2, is this high skill ceiling character. Or Lucio from Overwatch 2, which I know has kind of a different role in Overwatch, but there's a reason why I'm stating Lucio, and I'll get into that later in the solutions. You can take a look at him. These characters have high movement, low HP, but for some reason they kind of just work better in that game. Or my favorite example, for example, Valorant, which is the game that I came from and played for 3 years, so I have a pretty good understanding of the game and how the meta works in that. Jett, I feel like the way that Embark is trying to go with the light class really works well with how Jett is implemented in that game. I think the way that Embark is trying to design the light class kind of is comparable to Jett in Valorant in the way she works in that game. For those of you who aren't familiar with Valorant, Jett is kind of a duelist. She's the one that goes in entry fragging and taking on the first peak. Your initiator is the one that sets up the play and the fight for your Jett to take that peak in that fight. She has somewhat of an evasive dash as well in there, which which he uses to get on site when you're executing onto a site. Kind of how it works in the finals as well. Except the key thing to take away here, and if there's anything you want to take away from this video, it's this. There's kind of a triangle of balance. So whenever you're looking at balancing an ability or kind of a character or class, this is how I look at it. You have the engagement, you have the fight itself, and the disengage. Okay, in case the fight doesn't go as planned. These are three things that you should be balancing abilities on, and not by no means should the ability ever assist you in all three of those situations. They should only ever help you in two of the situations, either setting you up for an engagement, helping you during a fight, or helping you get out of a situation. If you, for example, in the light situation had an ability that helps you, for example, the cloak that helps you take an engagement with your advantage because they don't see you, you come at them from behind, but the cloak doesn't help you during a fight because it disengages while you're in that fight, right? While you're shooting, it doesn't help you. But let's say you don't kill him, you run out of ammo and you got to reload. Now you can re-engage that cloak and helps you get out, correct? That's kind of the way the balance should be looked at. It does two of those three. And most of the times the abilities kind of either help you get in or get out. That's kind of what the solutions I had cooking are. It's really hard to find something that helps you during a fight but doesn't help you get in or out. But I have an idea for that, which I'll get into later. If you can't see it with what I'm trying to get at with the problems and the solutions here, let me paint a better picture for you, and that's movement should kind of be the forefront of the light class. I think, in my opinion, movement should be the key thing that sets apart the light class. However, I really need to make it clear that, you know, high super fast movement is definitely not the answer, because that would clearly break the game. That's not how Embark wants the game to play out, and it's not the way the gameplay of the finals is meant to be played. Any kind of super fast movement would really break the game. So the light class, though movement should be part of the kit, you don't want it to move very fast, kind of like Titanfall or Apex, you know, when they're doing all the super gliding and all that jazz. That's definitely like, hence why they kind of nerfed super gliding. There was a form of super gliding in the finals in the very beginning, but then they take it away. Now you kind of know why they did it, because it completely breaks the game if it exists in here. So let's finally get into some of the solutions that I have boiling inside my head and my brain for the light class. But before we do that, guys, I have a huge announcement to make. Memberships are finally a thing, dude. Finally, it's about time. I'm excited to announce that you can be a member here on the channel if you're not already subscribed, which, by the way, if you're not already subscribed, you should do that. It'll change your life. So let's keep moving to the solutions of the light class that I had kind of laid out. As much as I would like, and a whole bunch of other people would like, a buff to the damage output or an aid to the HP bar of the light class, I don't think that's the answer. And I think there was someone in the comments that put it best, which I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll put it on screen now, but I'm really hesitant to say increase or buff the HP bar or the damage output of the light class without actually having any data. That's kind of up to Embark, and they have the data, they know what's best. So I can't really say that without the data, but what I can say is from a concept perspective, if you think about it, buffing the damage or the HP bar would be extremely OP with the ratty playstyle of the light. I mean, if you think about it, if you're playing the light class correctly, you're taking engagements from behind, right? You're attacking them from behind without them seeing you first, using the cloak or something. You have the advantage to begin with, but on top of that, you also have an increased HP bar now as well, and even if they saw you at the same time you started shooting them, they couldn't kill you. It wouldn't make sense. The whole ratty playstyle of the light just wouldn't fit with the buff to the HP or the damage, in my opinion. So as much as I want it, I don't think it fits. I think it's better to cater more towards that movement tech to contrast the heavy class. If you remember what I said, that heavy class, low movement, high HP. So catered more towards low HP but higher movement. Cater more towards that. And that kind of style, that kind of gameplay is the in and out style. You want to get in, take a fight, and get out. You want to assist in two of those three things that I point out: the in, the fight, or the out. Assist in any one of those three in terms of abilities or specializations. I think here I need to say something that's kind of important, and that's movement in general should only be used to engage or disengage, not while fighting specifically. And this is one of those exceptions to those three I was talking about. If you're stupid enough to get yourself in a bad position, you should be punished for that. The finals is not a traditional movement shooter, and movement while a fight, like for example Titanfall 2, is a slippery slope, and one I covered in the previous 21 problems that the finals needs to fix video. That's not what I'm trying to get at all. Think Jet from Valorant instead, right? And so the first thing that should be changed, and I feel that should have been changed a long time ago, it just doesn't make sense, is the grapple. If you think about the triangle I was talking about earlier, right? You have the engage, fight, and disengage. The grapple only gives you one charge, where the evasive dash gives you three, and the cloak can just be turned on and off whenever the hell you want. Grapple makes no sense to have one. It helps you get into a fight, but that's about it. There's nothing else. It should help you get into a fight and help you get out of a fight. So in that case, you need two charges of the grapple, and I think this should have been done a while ago. It'll give the cloaking device or the evasive dash like some competition in regular casual and in ranked, I think. On this topic, I'm going to say something that's a little bit controversial that I don't like, that I don't want to see, but I feel like is the way to go. So don't be surprised if in the future, a couple months down the line or in season 3, you see that the evasive dash is nerfed down to 2 charges instead. Because like I said, it helps you engage during a fight, it helps you disengage, but then what's that extra one for? It makes no sense to have 3. I like having 3. I just love the evasive dash, but as much as I love it, I don't think it should be a thing, and so don't be surprised if they nerf it in the future. Now let's get into some more juicy abilities that I had in mind. If you've ever played Splitgate, you know exactly where I'm going with this. Or hell, any other freaking adventure shooter. A freaking jetpack. A jetpack is a no-brainer for this game. The finals is like prime real estate for a jetpack. Like, it makes complete sense for it to exist, not only in this lore-wise, like the virtual reality world having a jetpack like that. Like, hello? I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't thought of this already. Like, a jetpack is just, dude, I can't put it in freaking words, man. Jetpack, it just needs to be a thing in this game. The only thing that I wanted to add on top of this is that the freaking, what do you call it? The HP bar or the gas bar of the jetpack should be balanced in such a way that it fits that triangle that I was talking about. It should help you either engage or disengage or take one of those out of the situation, for example, because it's going to help you engage no matter what. You peek a corner while flying. It's an advantage. So it helps you engage. It can help you during a fight if you use it to, like, you know, fight someone shooting them mid-air. But if you're choosing to use your jetpack while you shoot at them mid-air, that's putting you at an advantage during the fight, right? So you should not be able to use it to get out of that situation. If you're dumb enough to do that, you should be punished in means of not having a way out. You should be trapped in that situation to either fight it through, have your teammate help you, or something else. That's how the boost bar should be balanced, for in my opinion, for the jetpack, if it ever does come. Like, I mean, it should. Why isn't jetpack in this game? So next thing, kind of sticking with that same theme of things, if you know, you know. If you played Splitgate, you know. Portals. Portals is like the definition of in and out. You use it to get in an engagement, fight him. It doesn't help you during the fight, but you can use it as a means of getting out as well. And the way the portal that I'm thinking about, they kind of implemented in the past season 2. I'm not thinking of like a gateway. It's kind of more like an Apex Legends type thing. I'm thinking more of a portal from either Splitgate or the game Portal. Now let me explain why this idea and this ability kind of makes sense. Now you would think that since there's a bunch of destruction in this game, a portal just wouldn't make sense, right? Because it's easy to break. No, that's exactly why it makes sense, because there's counterplay already built into the game. If you think of a portal, like let's say you're about to steal a cash out, you throw a portal in there in one room and then another entry point in another room, and you use it to take a fight, but the enemy team doesn't want you to use it to get out, or just like wants to counter your portal. They can just break it with an RPG. They can break it with a C4. There's so much counterplay to it. Just break the wall. Now you just like teleport into freaking oblivion. It makes total sense, and I thought it would be a perfect addition to the game. Now the next ability or idea for ability that I had kind of came from a childhood favorite TV show of mine, which by the way, for some reason I had a lot of favorite childhood TV shows. Danny Phantom, for those of you guys who know, first of all, it is an amazing show. But in that show, he's kind of a ghost, so being able to phase in and out of walls fits the Lights playstyle almost perfectly. It would give the medium classes like a dematerializer a run for its money. The medium class can open up a window through a wall and shoot at you and then close it back up. With this kind of phase through wall like Danny Phantom with the light class, it'll give the dematerializer a counterplay option. Now you can phase in through the wall, shoot at him again, maybe kill him as he's reloading, and then phase back through the wall. And before we get into my favorite idea, my favorite ability that I had in mind, I just have to mention Fortnite. There's an ability, there's an item in Fortnite that like perfectly fits the theme of the finals and would make for unique gameplay styles, and that is the impulse nade. For those of you who play Fortnite know the impulse nade, what it is, you throw it on the ground and it kind of charges up for a split second and then just launches anything around it away. So that would make for some cool little plays and some just different play styles. I could imagine throwing it at a cash out station, popping that cash out station away from where all the defenses are set up, or if there's an enemy waiting behind a wall waiting for you to peek, you can throw it at him behind him and force him out from there. Or you can use it for your team and your teammates to get across the map faster. You can use it to troll your teammates by launching them off the map, but of course the enemies as well. I mean, we have to admit that there's just so much potential for an impulse nade in the finals. And something that I forgot to mention that I should probably say is that this wouldn't really be a specialization, you know, your, what is it called, the Q ability, like your main ability that each class has. It's more like a gadget, kind of like the gateway or the nades. It would give the nades and the gas nades, the pyros, a run for its money. Like an impulse nade is a very good and viable option to have in your kit instead of like a regular nade or a gas nade. Now my number one thing that I want to see in this game, that I want to see added, I know it's a bit of a stretch, it's a lot to fast because the mechanics behind it is kind of tough to do, and it's very unique where it's made. Like I said before, I want to see Titanfall 2's movement in this game for the light class specifically, but not all of its movement. For those of you who don't know how Titanfall 2 works, it has, first of all, I would recommend checking out my video that I made on it previously. I played through it again, and it's an excellent game. Even just for its campaign alone, you need to play it. Check out this video there. But the way it works in Titanfall 2 is that you have what's known as a jump kit on your person, on your character. And it's kind of, think of it as like a jetpack that's just a little bit above your butt on your back. What that does is it kind of softens up your landing. It allows you to wall run, which wall running is kind of the main thing that I wanted to see. In fact, this whole video and this whole ability was just spawned from this clip that I saw a long time ago. It was like, what, 2 months ago when I was playing the game. I saw this guy floating through the air and he looked like he was wall running. And at that moment, I knew that if this game had wall running, it would make it one of the top 10 games of all time. So just wall running alone, if it was added to this game, would be awesome. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, the walls are always collapsing. They're always in weird, awkward positions. So it'd kind of be interesting to implement and it would be hard to implement. And again, that's where the counterplay lies to this ability. You're able to make the destruction so that ability is kind of counterplayed in itself. But at the same time, it's not just the wall running that is added to the jump kit. Another important thing to it is the speed boost while you're sliding, and all this stuff would kind of be like a passive where the main ability is the wall running thing, and of course you have a charge on that. I don't think you should be able to wall run forever. Maybe you could chain things together and do that, but wall running forever on a thing would just like make no sense. The other passives it would offer you is like maybe a double jump. I forgot to mention that too. The jump kit also allows you to double jump. So that's another passive. Giving you an extra speed boost when you're sliding is another passive. This ability would give every other ability in the game a run for its money. Not just cloaking and evasive dash. This thing, if it was optimized and like balanced correctly, would make the light class #1 in my eyes without breaking the game. And of course, not to mention the casual side of the finals would be awesome. Now, I know this ability is kind of a stretch, but I feel like some of those could be picked apart and used and implemented in the game. Obviously, like the double jumping would be a little bit much. All the passives would be a little much. The main thing would be just that wall running. If just that wall running came in as a specialization, that would be amazing and make this game like nothing else. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by leaving a like, and I have a feeling that you'll enjoy this one next.